Ladies and gentlemen,
Hey, kia ora koutou te whānau. Welcome back to another edition of Big Hero News. Kia ora, Chewy.
Kia ora, Pat. It is I, friend Chewy.
You're looking rested and relaxed, almost like you've just got back from a very chill holiday.
I have, and I've come back to having to mow the lawns.
Oh,
and
no.
It's been a lovely day today. So the first mowing of the season.
No metaphor there? Not talking about something else
No.
being cut? No, just
No.
chicken.
No,
Just chicken.
just having to beat my lawns.
Didn't
back
have to get
into
out the weed
submission.
whacker for another purpose?
No.
Nothing? No? Whānau. Tonight we have a bit of a double hitter. The lovely Craig Renney is about to join us, talk about the OCR. But also, we will talk a little bit at the end of that conversation around what Craig Renney's podcast tomorrow is going to be, because we're also talking about it tonight. So it's like 3, maybe 4, because if we count Craig as 2, 4 for the price of 1. Pretty good. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. And then we're also going to be talking about the arrests in Christchurch over this. It's so funny. The arrests in Christchurch over the protesting, it's like, they've told us how not to protest, which is outside MPs' offices. And then they're like, and you can't protest outside the convention centre. It's like, well, so how do we do this?
Look,
if you're setting the rules and if I'm going to abide by them, what are they? Because at the moment, it seems like you're saying we can protest as long as we do it inside our own homes and no one gets disturbed by it. That's what it feels like.
Yes, if you don't inconvenience anybody.
Yeah.
If you don't have a negative effect on anything, and if you're polite and you don't use swear words on your signs and you don't use crass imagery and don't do any copyright infringement and don't yell at the foreign minister, and once again, protest is meant to be disruptive. And do you know what's going to be disruptive, Pat?
What's that?
The mega strike that is coming.
Oh, yeah. We talked to them about that when you were away. We talked to the guys from the PSA. It sounds... And what I actually said, Chewy, I just sent you the clip. I said, every time we start talking, it's pretty Chewy's on here, because Chewy always goes, General Strike, General Strike, General Strike. And I was like, is this about as close as we ever... Because there's no police involved, right? And I'm like, is this about as close as we're ever going to get to one? And they said, yep, pretty much.
I remember Chat fucking jumping on me when we were talking, who was it, secondary teachers guy that we had on, and I was like, is it getting to a stage where everyone's going to strike on the same day? And I remember Chat jumping on me going, you can't ask that, Chewy, it's against the law. And I remember the answer for the gentleman being like, oh, we can't possibly talk about that. But it certainly seems like it's organically happened, and I am fucking here for it, because it is as close to a general strike that we've ever had since 1979.
Yep,
Now,
100%.
if all of those people going on strike, if all of them vote for any other party on the other side, the election's already decided.
Ooh, it's a big call. It's a big call.
Well, it is. They're talking about 40,000 people. It is way less than that required to swing an election.
All right. Of course, I could be a stickler and say it depends how many of them are already voting for that side. And if it's 35,000, that's only an additional 5,000 more. But point taken. Point taken. Not to be a stickler. You know, we hate those whole fact things around here, Drew. That's
Don't
not our
fucking
MO
take
at all.
this away from me, Pat.
No, I won't.
I'm sitting here going, it's already been decided. Call a snap election. Try me.
Some big news, whānau, and I think I put this on Twitter and Blue Sky, I'm not sure. But if you're a fan of BHM produce that are enamel and you'd like to stick them to something, we've just had photos sent from the manufacturer as to our BHN product. BHN's there. Check these ones out. These are pretty cool as well. Yeah. big old fuck around, find out. BHN enamel. How about this one here? I think that's going to be quite popular. If maybe we'll even have that in time for the strike. Yeah, maybe that'll be a bit of a seller for the strike once we get it. Now, you ready for these two? These two are the coolest and I think the cutest. How about that one? How about that one? An enamel on your, where would you stick an enamel? Would you put it on your person, Chewy, or would it more go on your canvas bag?
That might go on my work lanyard.
There you go.
Maybe.
Very good. And this one's pretty cute as well. Oh. And
that's for our Sunday morning special, isn't it?
yeah, I was speaking to them. You know what I'm talking about. Again this week, speaking of. Anyway, and there is a Nicky No Boats one as well, but there was a small problem with some of the enamel, so I have rejected it outright, and they're remaking them. So they'll be about 3. We should get these ones in probably 10 days, and then 3 weeks after that, we'll get some Nicky No Boats ones coming over. I'm not going to show you those ones because they're not quite right. So I said,
well, even if
capitalism
right,
rules,
Pat,
get thee back. Sorry?
Even if they're not quite right, Pat, we'll still get them before we get new ferries.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll probably get the 27th generation of them before we get new ferries. Let me remind you as well, whānau, that we're doing a big fundraiser at the moment for medical aid for Palestinians. We've changed it all up this week. And if you've got an order in, I think all of them are done. There might be 1 or 2 later ones that I haven't quite got done, but pretty much everyone that's got an order in so far is packed and ready to go to the courier, which will be tomorrow morning. So it'll be on the courier tomorrow. And you could well have it before the weekend. I do notice sometimes they only take 24 hours to get around, which is pretty cool. Any hoodie purchased, any hoodie in the shop, right? Any hoodie at all. Nicky No Boats is there. Pat and Chewy are there. The Buffer Gear's there. The old school BHN there. Any hoodie at all ordered. We take $10 from what you've paid and we give it to MAPS. BHN this week is going to match that $10. Therefore, it's a $20 donation for every hoodie. And we've had a very, very generous patron in and amongst us offer to match it. So that's another $20. So up to $500 total for our lovely, generous patron. You buy a hoodie. Included in that is a $40 donation to medical aid for Palestinians. Same formula for the T-shirts, are just half. So you give 5, BHN gives 5, generous benefactor matches it, so gives 10. $20 for a T-shirt, $40 for a hoodie if you purchase them will go in. And this is going to be going until midnight Friday, and then the donation is going to go away because we do need to pass it on, sort of thing. The gear will still be there, but if you want to get the gear and make a donation, you should get it between now and sort of dinner time Friday, and then you'll be sorted. Any hoodie, any T-shirt in there. And just think, Chewy, in the not too distant future, we'll have some enamels here as well. Hey, one other thing. Big shout out to Yoan who does our web development stuff. We also have our shop now on YouTube. So some of you may have seen it. Depends what you're using it. I think it mostly pops up on your phone. But if you're looking at any of our videos on YouTube, you may now well see our Can't Bomb the Truth Away merch on the YouTube shop, which is pretty cool. And we're looking to get it on Facebook and on Instagram and on TikTok and all over the place as we sort of grow. Last thing, we are going to have a patrons meetup this Saturday morning. And after the patrons meetup, Chewy, we're having a HR meeting. 4 hosts are having an HR meeting to talk about.
Oh, I knew this was coming.
You need to bring a support person with you.
That was a funny joke. It was a funny meme that I sent you. And
you need to bring. Listen, this is official. Bring a support person. Okay, it's part of the rules. You got to do it. So what I'm saying, whānau, is we're all going to have a bit of a chat this weekend, the 4 of us hosts, and we will come back to you next week, probably at some stage, with some news for next year, kind of what we're planning on doing. I will send off that invitation to patrons either tonight after the show or tomorrow. But we normally do it 11 o'clock Saturday mornings. We'll do a meetup. Look forward to hope we all see you there. Okay.
Sometimes I even turn up.
You never. Oh, well, yeah. No. Well, don't let's not that. It'll be another HR appointment if we start this conversation on here. All right. Let's get to this, shall we? Because good news we're being told for mortgage holders. The OCR has been slashed. what everyone's saying. Slashed. It's been slashed by 50 basis points. Being told that mortgages could go back down below 4%. Being told that potentially in November there might be another 25 basis points taken off the OCR. It all sounds quite good if you have a mortgage. I'm assuming if you've got a big shit chunk of change in the bank living off the interest, not so good for you guys. But we thought, we don't really know anything about this, do we, Chewy? Numbers, math, that kind of stuff. So let's get on someone who can educate us and the people around us. He is the economist from the CTU. He is soon to be an award-winning podcaster, just speaking that out to the universe. It's only bloody Craig Renney. Craig, good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, gents. How are you?
We're doing okay. As you can see, an element of lunacy has come back into the show since Monday night. I don't quite know what changed on Monday night, but something happened. Something happened in the atmosphere. Craig, how are you, man? What's going on?
I'm good. We've been looking at the OCR today, looking at the interest rate changes. I have been going into rooms and quietly screaming at myself at the idiocy that is the removal of Jobseeker's benefit for 18 and 19-year-olds. Yep. There are, it's been a good day, and it's been sunny here in Wellington. It's been raining for weeks, so
I don't believe. Okay. We can believe a lot of what you've said, Craig, but that's just one step too far. Excuse me.
But believe it, it's been a really pleasant day here.
We don't have you here necessarily to talk about the Jobseeker conversation, but because we're going to cover off on that later on in the show. Maybe after we talk about the OCR, we'll get your thoughts on it, because I understand that's what the podcast is going to be on release tomorrow as well, yeah? Yeah,
correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's have a chat about that at the end. And for a start, I was going to use the One News program, One News item on this, but I actually think we'll have a look at the 3 item, because TV3 ran with the OCR, but they also included some polling in their conversation. Now, we don't pay much attention to polling when it talks about how many seats and who would or wouldn't win. It doesn't really matter. But sometimes trends within polling and things like, how much confidence do we have in the business sector, that still gives us a snapshot of how New Zealand is today. So big drop in the OCR. Let's have a listen to what TV3 had to say about it, and then we'll have a bit of a chat.
It's been described as an early Christmas present for retailers.
Happy Christmas.
It will definitely take the heat off many homeowners. The Reserve Bank has responded to the sluggish economy by cutting the benchmark lending rate for the 8th time in a year. The official cash rate was today slashed by 50 basis points to 2.5%. It's the lowest rate since July 2022. It means for a household with a $500,000 mortgage, minimum repayments could be about $400 less a fortnight compared to a year ago.
Can I just say something about that? Sorry, I'm going to cut in a little bit here. That's such a bullshit thing that politicians do, because it's only going to make your mortgage that much cheaper if you happen to now fix. Like if you're on a 3-year fixed term already, it's not going to do a single cent to your mortgage. Now, my mortgage is due around this time of the year, so I'm like, choice. But they say this, the media and the politicians, like, hey guys, we've just given you an extra $400 a fortnight, but only if you're going to fix your mortgage in this period. There's not really too more to add to that, but if you want to say anything, either of you two?
Yeah, I do, because can you remember during the election campaign, we were going to get up to $250 a fortnight?
Yeah.
Right? The words up to, doing a lot of heavy lifting here. And I'd say in this show, the words up to, taking the heat off are doing a lot of heavy lifting in this show.
Yeah. The flip side of this as well, and there's an example here in the chat, we had to fix in fucking August. I've never been good with my fixing. Like, I've never got the good side. Like, for example, when COVID was about to kick off, I fixed just before COVID thinking, oh, the world's going to go crazy. Then it went like down to 0 and I missed all of that. Yeah. But so I feel your pain, but let's just make that clear. You can get, it's not like the government's come out and gone, for everyone, this is going to be money. It's like, if you happen to be in a very slim part of the economy where you haven't quite fixed yet, or you're currently floating, then it may benefit you. But this is not like a increase to, and everyone's not flush with cash all of a sudden. There we go.
Political correspondent Zane Small reports.
With the help of her broker, Stephen Robertson, Zoe Fisher and her husband purchased their first home together 5 years ago in Huia, with sweeping views of the Manukau harbour.
We bought it for the early 8s, so I think it was 8.35.
It was 2020 at the height of the pandemic and interest rates were low.
Saw a rate in the sort of mid-2s and said, oh great, gonna just quickly fix for a year, that sounds awesome. Didn't call the mortgage broker, which we probably should have. A year afterwards, it jumped up into the high 6s, and we were paying about $1,500 more every month, which was really difficult for me and my husband.
They weren't alone. This graph shows how 2-year fixed rates went from a low of 3.47% in mid-2021 to 7.6% in October 2023, before trending down to 5.42%. A rates rollercoaster ride Stephen Robertson describes as tough on his clients.
A lot of them.
Sorry, I'm just going to say this. Bloomin' TV3 did him dirty by focusing on the puku, don't you think? I mean, come on, TV3. What are you doing? Portly man. This is a little bit of fat shaming, perhaps. Not fat shaming, portly shaming.
The ride Stephen Robertson describes as tough on his clients.
A lot of them have been hanging on, waiting for the big drop, and others have just said, look, I can't wait any longer. I need more money in the bank account for groceries, things like that.
But despite lower interest rates, economic momentum remains lacklustre. The latest quarterly survey of business opinion shows a drop in confidence in the 3 months to September, and that's seen as a key piece of data for the Reserve Bank when setting the benchmark for interest rates. Today, the central bank responded with a 50 basis point cut to the official cash rate, bringing it to 2.5%.
Hey, just very quickly, Craig, they're selling it like this is a bit of a surprise. From an economist's point of view, was this expected or is it a bit of a surprise? 50 basis points.
The argument was always whether or not it was going to be 25 basis points or 50 basis points.
Okay.
As the news has got worse over the past few weeks, more and more people have expected 50.
Okay. So it wasn't like for some of us who aren't really have our finger on the pulse like you guys do. It's like, well, that feels big, but you guys are saying it was always a possibility and became more so the worse things got.
It was always a possibility, but it's still quite rare. It's not something that happens all the time. And so you can't keep doing that.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
The lowest since July 2022.
This feels like a little bit of a final sort of confidence boost, a bit of a circuit breaker to say, hey, look, we've cut rates. You know, we think things need to be picking up. We want the economy to pick up. So here's some medicine to help you out.
A medicine the National Party no doubt hopes will boost its economic credentials.
How much smaller is the New Zealand economy today than it was when he became...
I'm just getting in here early because Whānau, if you've got like a sheet, you got a sheet to lay down on the floor because someone's guts are about to be exposed and this is... And guess what he does, Chewy? Guess what he does when he's looking for an answer or not telling the truth? Come on, Whānau. Say it with me. Here comes the stutter. Great question. And just you'll be cleaning up the blood for a while, Whānau.
Economic credentials.
How much smaller is the New Zealand economy today than it was when he became Prime Minister?
Well, again, the former Prime Minister needs to understand this. He created the problem.
The latest Taxpayers Union Courier poll out today shows National down 3.5 points to 29.6%, behind Labour on 31.2%.
Yeah, but Labour's also down margin of error. Come on, guys. This is come on.
Down 2.6. The Greens are up to 12%, and Te Pae Māori's also had a slight bump. On the right, New Zealand First is up, but ACT is down.
New Zealand First looks to be doing quite well in the polls. What do you think you're doing right?
Look, we just make confetti out of your polls.
Winston Peters is getting so old and senile, he can't figure out that they're saying, this looks really good for you guys. So that means he's saying, this looks really good for you guys. You watch us prove your polls wrong. It's like he's becoming so senile that he hears the word poll and he has to push back. The reporter's saying this is a good result for you. His response is, we'll prove you wrong. I mean, I hope you're right, Winston. I hope you're right.
On the right, New Zealand First is up, but ACT is down.
New Zealand First looks to be doing quite well in the polls. What do you think you're doing right?
Look, we just make confetti out of your polls.
It's been a long, hard winter, and yet I know that people are going to be judging next year on have you fixed what matters and done the work.
I know that lower interest rates result in the things that I want to see for New Zealanders, which is more investment, more job creation, higher incomes. And
just think about all those minimum wage people going, oh, you've been right, Nicola. For such a long time, I've been looking where to put all that extra money in more investments. And now that my landlord is saving $400 a fortnight on his mortgage and not passing it on, I'm just going to go get my stock portfolio out right now and put that extra money away.
Relief for everyday families.
For Zoe Fisher, it does make a difference.
We'd really like to eventually save up and get an investment property, and we've just not had the capacity to do that saving. So being able to put more money into the economy, going out for dinners, supporting local businesses, all that sort of thing is something we're really looking forward to being able to do again.
Homeowner aspirations now possible thanks to cheaper lending.
There you go. We'll leave it right there. So Craig, OCR 50 basis points. I noticed on One News they had Barb Edmonds basically saying it was the Reserve Bank doing the work of the government because the government wasn't able to fix the quote-unquote, this is from their report, sluggish economy. The Reserve Bank had to come in with a big mallet and do something like this to help start fix it. So Barb Edmonds is kind of saying, she's not saying this is bad. Obviously, most of us think this is not a bad thing, but it's covering the ineptitudes of the government. What say you, sir?
It's good for some people. So if you own a home with a big mortgage, it's clearly good for you. If you own a home
and
with a big mortgage,
and you're fixing and you're about to fix.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
You're about to fix, or you're on a variable rate, and if you're on a variable rate and you've got a big mortgage, fix.
Yeah.
Then it's good for you. The only reason that the bank will cut the interest rate that quickly, bearing in mind we've had now 300 basis points or 3% cut off the OCR in a very short period of time, right? The only reason that happens is because the economy is tanking. You don't cut the interest rate when the economy is going really well. You don't cut the interest rate when unemployment is really low. You don't cut the interest rate when everything is happy in the garden and New Zealanders are feeling great, right? You cut the interest rate because things are not going well. And we're applying more medicine because things are still not going well, despite all the medicine that we've had to date. Now, there's a piece of jargon here, so stay with me for a second, because it's really important when you think about interest rates. There's a thing called the neutral rate. So the neutral rate is the interest rate that is not associated either with growth or with pulling back spending. It's the interest rate where it doesn't encourage people to go spend more money or it doesn't encourage people to save. It's called the neutral rate. That's roughly 3%. Yeah? Okay. We've only just cut below 3% now. So all of the interest rate cuts that we've had to date, right, they've only just been bringing us to the neutral rate. This is the first time we've actually gone into something that's stimulating the economy.
And let me ask this neutral rate 3%, assuming therefore if you're under it, it's better to spend money, and if you're over it, it's better to save money?
Essentially what happens is that the people decide to spend, invest, do things. Yep. Anything above it, people say, ooh, I don't have the money, so I'm not going to invest.
Because if it's below that 3%, whatever it goes down to, it's easier to borrow. It's cheaper to borrow, so it's time to spend.
Correct. And there's a thing called the effective lower bound, which is the lowest you can get to. I won't bore you with the details. Long story short.
Thank you.
We've just got there, right? What that means is all of the interest rate cuts we've had to date haven't been stimulating the economy because they've been above the neutral rate.
Gotcha.
So this is the first time we've got some stimulus. Now, by convention, it takes a year for an interest rate cut to transmit itself to the real world. So, because people have to refix their mortgages, people have to make investment decisions, there are all sorts of things. As a consequence...
Hang on. National's Facebook page says that it's almost an instant fire hose of money. Are you telling me that their social media team of 7 to 12 people are lying to me?
What? How dare you come on the show and tell lies, Craig? Can you? We trust you as a respected voice. Please, let's not mislead people.
Let's not mislead people. So every year, about half of all mortgages turn over, right? It takes about a year for all of those. Sorry, idiot here. Turnover meaning refix, refinance. What do you mean by turnover? Yeah. Okay, all right. No, refix. As a consequence, you can imagine you make a decision a month later. Very few of those mortgage holders have refixed. So there's no new fire hose of money. Some people are encouraged to borrow, but again, it takes time to borrow. Companies are encouraged to invest, but the investment has to be designed, built. You have to buy new plants, new equipment, and often you don't get the output from that investment for months. So there's no new jobs, there's no new income. So it takes a really long time, and by convention, it takes about a year to 18 months for an interest rate cut to be felt in the real world. When you're making it, when I used to work at the Reserve Bank, we always used to talk about it. You make cuts for what's going to happen in 18 months' time, not what's happening today. And as a consequence, it's not doing the job that we think it wants to do, which is stimulating the economy today.
So this won't make a dang bit of difference for most people.
It'll inject some confidence. Some people will feel better. Some people might go out and spend some money because they feel in the short run as if they're a little bit better off. Yeah, even though they're not, because they don't actually have any new money. They just feel more confident on that space. But
it almost sounds like people often say that the reason you have security at an airport is to give the presence of a secure place, where actually security doesn't do very much at all. And they've done tests on how they get a knife past security, and it's not that difficult. It sounds like what you're almost saying is that the cut like this gives the appearance of people having more money, or it gives them the feeling that now they're better off when maybe they're not.
This is called the wealth effect in economics. Right. So we talk about people feel wealthier even though they're not. And as a consequence, they go out and spend money that stimulates the economy, creates new jobs, creates new income. And by magic, people suddenly are wealthier because they've done it without thinking about it. Now, the challenge here is that the economy, as we know, has been sinking for 9 out of the past 15 months. The economy is 1.3% smaller than it was at the election. There are
devastating question in the House. That was a devastating question.
There are there are approximately 35,000 fewer jobs than there were at the election, right? So you've got to do an awful lot of work to turn that around, right? There's less business investment. There's less commercial investment. There are empty shops in many of the high streets around the country. Yeah. So how are you going to get that going? Now, you can use monetary policy, you can use the interest rate, but that's a long run thing. You're doing that to change circumstances a year, 2 years from now. If you want to change things in the short run, you use fiscal policy. You go out and you spend more money for the government, or you deliver tax changes, or you do other things. The challenge we have is that we have a government that is committed to doing the opposite of the Reserve Bank. And the easiest way for your viewers and listeners to think about this is as if you had someone who was driving a car with both their foot on the accelerator, that's the Reserve Bank, and their foot on the brake, that's the government, at the same time. It doesn't do a lot, but the car just makes a noise, right? And that's essentially what we're doing right now. The Reserve Bank is putting its foot on the accelerator. It's saying, go faster. But the government isn't helping by putting its foot on the brake, slowing investment, slowing spending, reducing benefits, doing other things, which take the confidence away from consumers.
I wonder, could you explain to us, or if you have any ideas or thoughts around it, that if the interest rate, the OCR is now 2.5%, what should we expect to see mortgage rates at? Because I'm looking as we're talking. I've just put up the banks that I've got something to do with. SBS at 4.75, 4.75-ish. ANZ 4.5 to, I mean, let's forget floating, talk about this, to 4.65. I did another one. Did I do it? I was going to do ASB as well. Doesn't matter. We'll leave it there. A 2.5% OCR, what should we expect? Because it doesn't feel like they're passing on like the 50% basis points that we've all just been given, if that's the right word. What should we expect?
Well, by convention in New Zealand, it's roughly about 2% is the net interest margin, 2 to 2.5%. So if the banks themselves are borrowing at 2.5%, then they can then lend out at 4.5%, 5%, somewhere in that range, depending upon how risky you are as a consumer.
Because there was lots of talk today about they might go down below 4%.
They might in the future, but not now. Because they'll be looking at the futures markets as well. And so to get technical about this, there's a thing called the swap, which is the difference between our rate and the US Federal Treasury Reserve's rate. And that's what we call the risk-free rate. So the banks can get that money risk-free at this rate. So they have to lend above that rate in order to make a real return. And so that's the margin that we use. So about 2%. So 4.5% is probably where they'll end up at the minute. And then we expect them to then fall a little bit further as we see further interest rate cuts in the future.
So they're talking about another 25 basis points in November. This is not financial advice to anybody watching or listening, but would that be something that you'd expect? Another 25 basis?
If you look at the, because I'm sure you all have, at the Reserve Bank's press release associated with.
I read them every night, Craig. It's what I read before I go to bed.
But, the very last paragraph, because you know me, I like to start from the bottom and work my way up, is on balance, the committee reached the consensus to reduce the OCR by 50 basis points to 2.5%. The committee remains open to further reductions in the OCR as required for inflation to settle sustainably near the 2% target in the medium term. That's code for more cuts. More cuts are coming.
I want to talk to you about this other conversation, but first of all, Chewy, OCR, home loans, anything else for Craig before we kind of move on?
Why keep fixing it at 1 year? I should have done more during COVID, but still. I just see the government, social media, and actors joining in on this, capitalizing on the general public's lack of understanding about what this means, to put the message out there going, we're saving you $400. Aren't we good economic stewards? And it is smoke and mirrors and flim-flammery. And we need to get this message out there as much as possible, that just because their social media say you have $400 in the bank more, it's not true.
It's not true. You
can't believe it.
If I might, Chewy, there are also a couple of things that are going to make you annoyed more about this, so I'll chuck them out gently now.
Oh, good.
When we cut the OCR, one of the things that happens is the New Zealand dollar starts to depreciate against other currencies.
Yeah, it dropped 1% today.
Yeah. So that puts up petrol prices. That puts up imported goods, because we import these goods, we have to pay foreign currency for them. So we buy petrol or fuel in US dollars usually. So
we don't, Craig. Sorry, we don't buy fuel.
Yeah, you mentioned
fuel.
Petrol.
What is this? What is that petrol thing?
I don't even know her.
Yeah,
don't know.
So even the Indonesian coal that's currently keeping the lights on in Huntly, we pay for it in US dollars, right? As a consequence, that's going to go up. That puts up inflation. Inflation may well breach the 3% target, the top of the target, in the very short run.
Right.
Two, and I can't stress this enough, this is all based upon a plan, right, which was written by Bill English in 2014, which is that the way we're going to grow the economy is to sell houses to each other again. That there's no growth, there's no sustainable jobs. The only way this is going to work is if we all pretend that we're all a little bit wealthier because our house prices have gone up, right? We're going back to an economy that looks an awful lot like 2015, right? Where the fastest route to wealth is to own somebody else's home.
Right.
Right. This is not an economy any of us should want. It didn't work the first time round. And if you're on a low income, it certainly doesn't work in the future for you now. So yes, there's mortgage holders can celebrate if they're likely to refix their mortgage soon. And pro tip, if you're going to do that, only refix half your mortgage, because then you halve the exposure to the interest rate changes. But if you want to do that, we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be celebrating whether or not OCRs go up or down. It should actually be a really dull statistic, right? The fact that we've built our entire economy on this is the problem.
Just for future reference, when you need to learn your audience that you're talking to, like if you had have said, when we're paying for our enamels in American dollars, then you would have had me 100%. We're getting suggestions in the chat that maybe you might need one of these for your lapel, the tax work less and tax wealth more there, Craig. But speaking of, before we ask you that last about that last topic, the other topic, there's a couple of questions directly for you, if you're cool with that. Gold says, what considerations would this have for someone currently looking at getting a mortgage?
The answer is be as aggressive as you humanly can be. Go into the shop or go and get an advisor and say, and then walk out of the shop and walk to the next shop and tell the people that the best deal I got there was this.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like negotiating a wage. You never have more power than when you enter into a mortgage or when you enter into a job. And as a consequence, negotiate like hell, because it's really hard to change it after you've done that decision.
And there's one other one here. It's a bit of a highbrow question. I don't know if our audience will quite understand this. To Craig, on the scale of 1 to 10, how fucked are we?
Right now, we're currently in
Thanks,
assuming 10 is bad and 1 is good.
No, I'd say 10 would be good, wouldn't it? What would you say, Chewy?
I would say this is it. We need an SI for
the scale is how fucked are we? And I would say,
so 10 is bad.
Is absolutely turbo
yep. Okay. No, that's good. Yep. Okay. So 10 is turbo fucked. Gotcha.
On that basis, right now we're at about an 8.5. Things could be worse, right?
Yeah.
But they are bad. Let's call a spade here, right? You've got thousands of jobs being lost. No one has any money. Everyone was promised something that hasn't turned up in terms of that laser-like focus on the cost of living. No one feels any wealthier, and we don't have an engine of growth that's going to pull us out of the mire of where we are right now. And that's the problem.
It's a great idea for a t-shirt, actually. Like holding up a spade.
What? 10 is turbo fucked.
A picture of someone holding a spade, and it's saying, "You're a spade." Calling a spade a spade. Maybe we could work it into something around Luxon, calling a spade a spade. Thank you, Craig, for that jaunty and hilariously good feeling conversation that we've always had. Let's quickly move to another one, just briefly, because me and Chewy are going to continue this on. And your podcast will be out tomorrow, mid to late afternoon. And you're going to be talking about the Jobseeker cuts for 18 and 19-year-olds. Me and Chewy are going to do this shortly. And I think, Chewy, what we're specifically doing tonight is talking about what I think we found out today. Young beneficiaries with a health condition or disability are still going to be booted off, even if they cannot work. Now, I don't say that's exactly what you're talking about, Craig, but seeing we're about to talk about it, happy to have some thoughts. Happy to have a bit of a tease of your podcast tomorrow. Without what do you got? Why would you buy the cow if you're giving the milk away for free? Is that the same?
Let me give you sort of there are very few things in life where you do something or you read a policy change and you go, this is, and forgive my language, absolutely universally fucked.
Be still my heart. Craig Renney just said fucked, Chewy.
This is a family show.
It's a family show.
Just absolutely taken outside and rogered in front of a baying crowd. It is monumentally stupid.
Wow.
On at an atomic level. Right? And so as a consequence, we're going to be looking at, for example, the little known 14,000 tax percent that a person will face as a consequence of this decision. If you earn $1, it's $65,636, and you earn one more, your family will lose $14,000.
Wow.
Fuck, I haven't seen it put that way.
Right. In other words, you're saying if you just took over the threshold by $1, then that 18, 19-year-old loses that benefit, and they are being now paid for. Yeah. Fuck.
You have to go to work for an extra 11 hours just to be in the same situation you were beforehand. So your next 11 hours of work are free.
I see some graphs in your future, Craig.
There are this is also assumes that you don't get accommodation supplement or other benefits would actually make that gap worse. In fact, if there's two of you in a household, you and your partner can work 11 hours less and still be on the same income.
Right, because you can include the 18-year-olds.
Right. You know
the household. You're talking about the household income.
The household income, right? There are all sorts of stupid things in here. Like, for example, if you get married, it no longer applies.
So I can remember that when I was a student, how a bunch of my student friends got married, officially never lived with the person, to their mates, and they got an allowance. So, yep. So that's coming back, bringing back the 90s.
So I mean, I know Shortland Street's been looking for a publicity boost, but it will be, yeah, that is where we're at. This is the level of stupid that we're dealing with, right? But also, this doesn't solve any problems. This doesn't make anyone better off. The only person who benefits is the government, who saves $60 million a year by stealing it out of the pockets of 18 and 19-year-olds, right? But as you're about to talk about yourselves, that's not just, you know, young layabout 18, 19-year-olds playing the PlayStation. These are people who have lifelong disabilities. These are people who are not work ready. These are people who have had accidents and might be going back to work, but right now can't. Right? Can't claim ACC because they weren't in receipt of an income, so they go on Jobseeker. There's a whole range of people who are affected by this decision. It's like the cabinet went to the pub across the road from Parliament, right? Got drunk and decided this was a really good idea.
Yeah, that's the vibe that I've got, and I think it's really clear from the question time in the House today that Luxon doesn't know how Jobseeker works. He doesn't understand that there's not a sickness benefit, that was all taken away and everything was rolled into Jobseeker to make that list look better before his time. He doesn't get it fundamentally, and this is a policy that has come together for marketing reasons rather than getting any advice, reading the advice and going, oh, there's going to be some unintended consequences in that we care about. They don't care about any of it.
No, it's the kind of thing that in a sensible government, some junior staffer would have put it up as an idea and they would have been gently taken out of the room and told, please don't talk, and then allowed back into the room, right? This is absolutely, think about it for just a second. If the government's that broke that it's going to take, it needs $60 million out of the pocket, basically robbing the pockets of 18 and 19-year-olds, how broke are we as a country?
Oh, Craig, this
money
is
for helicopters.
the two things that come to mind for this is why we always say the devil is in the detail. But when this government, and like, I didn't necessarily think this is a good idea, but when they bring out any policy that some people might think is a good idea, just don't trust them. Don't trust them, because once you expose what their policies are, this is just confirmation that the left make policy and the right respond to policy. Because if you're looking at this, they don't know how to make policy. So
I have a plea for all of your viewers and listeners before I go, which is, if they know a 16 or a 17-year-old or even an 18-year-old, and they're not interested in politics, they're not interested in economics, they're not in any of this stuff, right? Just give them this. Tell them, if these are not the outcomes that you want, you have to vote. You have to get out there and you have to vote for change, because otherwise they'll come after this. They'll come after everything else. We've seen tuition fees go up 6% this year, on top of 6% last year. Apprenticeship boost support was halved last year. There's now sanctions regimes, which mean that these people will be required to work for free in community enterprises, right? They're going to keep doing this.
There's another word for working for free.
Yeah, it's popular.
This cabinet table really needs to be in a volcano, doesn't it? With a big window to look out. This is the level of evil these guys are all about.
It really is cartoon levels of desperate. But again, we are 384 days away from the next election, by my guesses, right? And we are, every day is telling us what will happen if this government gets another 1,000 days, which is what a term is, 3 years, 1,000 days in office, right? We have to see change, because this will not be the last of the, of the pinky in the brain level policies, right? That are
such a good reference. I love that cartoon. I think we might have lost Craig. See, Craig, they're coming after you now. SIS is onto it. I love Pinky in the Brain. It was a very good cartoon. I think we might have lost Craig. That's a bit of a first. All right, Craig. I think we got to the end of it anyway. Give him a few seconds to see if he pops in. Oh, there he goes. You're back again.
Oh, he's back.
So, you want to just wrap that up? Pinky in the Brain, you got to, and then you disappeared.
Yeah. Oh, so it's the pinky in the brain level policies. We just have to see change this.
All right. Look like we're losing you, Craig. So we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for coming and joining us tonight. I will see you tomorrow afternoon to record the podcast, which I get the sense, Chewy, might be another big one. The numbers Craig's putting in on some of his podcasts. He did one 2 weeks ago, I think on one of the GDP numbers, 20,000 views across Facebook and YouTube. Yeah, so yeah, Craig's kind of the big dog now. We got to bow to him when he comes in the room.
Craig has been working up to this like all week. Craig's a lovely guy. He doesn't really get that heated, but when I saw his Blue Sky in the post, I think 1 or 2 days ago, where he said sometimes a policy is so stupid that it makes you question the very fabric of reality. Decisions so fabulously, almost wantonly dumb, make you wonder if we actually live in a simulation.
Let's move to some super chats and let's get to the next topic. So thank you, Craig, for joining us on. Bit of internet issues at the end there. Make sure you have no issues tomorrow when we're recording the podcast. All right. Citizen Gold wants to have an argument because he says it's 437 days at the most of this train wreck of a government. Arvid's saying up to $250, more like up to Nicola. Amelia gave us a sticker. Thanks, Amelia. No, I'm not sure what the sticker was, but a super sticker. As long as ACT keeps trending down, I'm happy, says Kiwi Bird. Rob says, so the Reserve Bank has cut rates when it is in its too inflationary band, not independent from government then? Arvid says, Nicola in the grimace fit. Because we had Grim. No, we had the purple outfit. Yeah, true. Brooke says if we all got $1 each time Lux and blame Labor, we would all be rich. I say that even just based on the question time yesterday and today. JC says spending $2 to stimulate the economy. Thanks, JC. Happily be your stimulation. That's what she said. Another one from JC. I'm late, but it's not my fault. I've just installed Civilization, isn't it? Civilization 7.
Yep.
Lost track of time.
Just one more turn. Just one more turn.
Just one more turn. Another one from Jason. My mortgage comes up in January. If I can get below 4%, I will lock it in for 375 years. Daniel says, how can we get Craig to replace Brad as the go-to TV economist? I wonder if they avoid Craig. I wonder if it's because of how Craig's truth bombs on some level, because I wonder if stations are a bit scared of him. Because then they'll be accused of being a shill for Labor, so to speak. Howie says, I want elected people who can communicate the truth. This glib sales speak we're getting shows contempt for the thinking people. Aha, not for their voters, though. You've just said it. Not for their voters.
I went on a pretty righteous rant at my workmates over this yesterday that... talking about a government budget like it's a household budget. This sort of infantile, like you're speaking to infants about big topics, right? People should be insulted that our leaders are talking to us like that. Like, we have no way of understanding how economics work, that you are incapable of having a conversation not only with your own voters, but with the rest of the country. They don't see the benefit of it. They think that if they just pander to the dumbasses, then that's enough. And it infuriates me. I don't like being spoken down to, and it's all I see from this government.
Speedlock says food is $400 plus a year more before the OCR change. I'm assuming is Speedlock saying $400 per fortnight as well, kind of offsetting it, because $400 a year would only be $8. I'm assuming we're saying a fortnight to offset the savings for the mortgage. Alleged. JC's gone a bit crazy with the super chats. JC in the Pigeon Cat says the drop in currency today will cost me about $4,000 extra on my next container of goods. Can't put my prices up because customers are already struggling. Yay, says JC. Yeah, no, it's like we're spending hundreds and it's going to make a difference, and you guys are spending thousands. Sheesh. Not sure what's going on there. Rajan says, when's Craig talking to Gary Stevenson? We're working on that. Gary's really hard to get a hold of. I mean, I've tried to get him on this show. Not that we're kind of big enough to warrant his time, but more often than not, when you contact an agent or something, you hear something back. We've heard nothing back. If we can get Gary for anything next year, it'll be to see Craig, because that will be the best use of the time for the Big Hairy Network. If we can get him for us as well, that'd be amazing. But yeah, Craig would get priority in that. Brooks says, yes, Chewy, thank you. Luxon doesn't understand. Sorry, Mr. Luxon, I didn't choose to be born with learning disabilities and terrible anxiety. Those mixed with this tough job market, I am just above 18, 19. Me too. I mean, like, in my heart.
I mean, this is what I mean about people being spoken down to, right? We should all understand that if there is a lot of unemployed and not a lot of jobs going, then the people that are more risky choices for employers will just not get picked. When the economy's firing really well, people take risks on staff. They give people a go. But the market's flooded, so they're fucked. And we're going to punish them for being fucked, for being last pick at the dodgeball game. Like, that's shit. It's a shit attitude.
This is a good way to pass on a personal message. Pay for it. Chewy, could you check your Insta or Discord DMs, please? There you go. Brody paid that passed on. So there you go. And finally, Mr. Alex has asked a personal opinion on something from us again that we're likely to not know what's going on, but let's go there. Just wanting Pat and Chewy's take on the news that the government is intensifying the down on people who depend on the supported living payment on TV1 News tonight, and including challenging the certification period from the SLP. Well, Mr. Alex, this is the one night we can help you out, because it's not about the crossing from Lower Hutt to Kapiti Coast or whatever they are down there, which we love. I'm not taking the piss, because we're actually going to talk about that shortly. We're going to talk about the whole thing, and you will get our feels in full. Now, Chewy, before we move on, I did notice you kind of took control of the screen and you've got a graph there. Is there something you want to add, or was that for Craig in case it came up?
This was for Craig, but let's put this up, because I think this is from the excellent Blue Sky channel or account, Musical Chairs, that loves graphs. But what we have here is worth noting that we only see decent job growth for young Kiwis when the economy is running hot. That's when employers give less experienced people a chance.
So purple is
the 15 to 24-year-old job growth year on year.
Okay.
And then the yellow bar is the OCR.
So when the OCR is down, they don't want to have a go.
Yeah, absolutely. RBNZ respond to hotness by hiking interest rates to slow the economy down. Youth unemployment is a feature of our economic model, not a bug. So yeah, that pretty much ties directly into what Craig was saying, that we can't untangle OCR rate changes with the effect that it's going to have on the job market. And again, it comes back to what we have said right from day one from this government going down this austerity track, that they are building a machine a bureaucratic machine to chew up poor people.
Yeah.
Because they've done it before. That's what the 1990s were, that they are going to crash the economy. They're going to want to be seen as being tough on beneficiaries, bludgers, loafers, for some reason, people that play PlayStation. And they're going to blame them for being a drag on the economy as part of a crisis that they had no part in creating and have no way to push back against.
One other quick chat there from Arvid's in there as well. Wish people would give Chloe and the Greens a go. Yeah, 100%. Eh?
They were the only adults in the room with their economic plan last election, and that remains. If you have some sort of remaining prejudice against the Greens of like they're not good at the economy and they only want to climb trees, go and read their economic policy.
That's not terrible, though. Climb trees, yeah.
Climbing trees is great. If we could monetize it, I'd be out the top of the tallest tree. But their economic policy makes sense. It's brave, but it's costed. Yeah. They have done the mahi, and the media doesn't take it seriously, and they don't analyze it. There's just this thing of like, we're not even going to look at it because the Greens are hippies. Anyway,
yeah.
Everything says that National are going to drive the economy into the ground because they're doing things that other governments have tried and they drove their economies into the ground. But let's see if National get it right.
But National are the adults in the room when it comes to
Let's
the economy.
give it the only two parties we can give a go on economic policy are National and Labour, and we don't listen to anybody else.
Bree says that she saw a business owner comment this recently: they won't risk hiring young people right now. So that was following that graph, I think we were saying. So, yeah.
Oh, that's Bree. Yep. Bree from the Facebook videos that I've been watching and very much enjoying.
Yeah,
she's great.
Yeah, yeah. We were thinking about permanently replacing you with her actually for a while. How do you feel about that?
I can understand the vibe. Yes, I can.
Bree came on and did one of our guests.
I had a good run.
Yeah. It's time to go to the stable with the shotgun. Is that what it is? Something like that? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next topic. We'll come back to the disabled teens and injured teens for the last story. Let's do this one first of all. Let's have a look at the protest action in Christchurch today. I know sometimes there will be arrests at protests. It kind of goes hand in hand, but it does feel like 2 days in a row we're being told, don't protest here, don't protest here, don't protest here. It's like, it's, you know, that kind of when people say there's a right way to protest. Yeah, is there? What is it? It's the way that doesn't inconvenience the person talking about it most of all. So this was a bunch of protesters in Christchurch there was like a space convention going on, not like physical space, but like space. And the protesters are worried about the connection between sort of our space industry and weapons grade technology or weapons grade, I was going to say aiming devices. Anyway, weapons, helping people find and locate other people to shoot and kill from satellites in space. Is that my good way of explaining it? And other things as well.
Back here, multiple arrests in Christchurch after protesters tried to blockade the entrance to the city's convention centre where the National Aerospace Summit has been held. Some attempting to storm the venue, voicing their opposition to the aerospace industry here, which they claim has ties with the US and Israeli militaries. Yeah. Lisa Davies reports.
Arrest after arrest. As Peace Action Ōtautahi protesters refuse to budge. Police not giving an inch.
Off the property! Trespassing! They're not opposing innovation or technology, they're opposing militarisation, and they're asking our government, Judith Collins, our Defence Minister, to uphold international law. And
Judith Collins has another title. I believe she's called the Space Minister as well.
Keep space for peace.
Space Minister Judith Collins, who attended the conference.
Space Minister. That does feel like the label you give to someone to just go, look, can you just go away and play with those things in the corner? Yes, you can be Space Minister. Fine. That's what she is, the Space Minister.
Called the protesters totally bonkers.
Are they embarrassing? Honestly, it's such a joke. This is a fabulous sector, growing well, growing the economy.
The aerospace industry here generated $2.7 billion over the past 5 years.
Most of the work that is done by the aerospace industry is around commercial or research.
This guy here, Mark Rocket, to his credit, that can't be his real name, by the way, to his credit, does say as part of this article, good on them. They've got the right to protest. He sort of has the right approach. It seems that the agencies are seem to having the wrong ones. The politicians are seem to having the wrong ones. He's like, nah, sweet as, they've got a right to do it.
There are some defence aspects going on as well, but certainly primarily it's involved with commercial and research.
These protesters claim aerospace work done here has links to the US and Israeli military.
This industry is insidious and it is terrifying, and we are going to be here as long as it takes to shut down the military links with our aerospace sector.
I wouldn't say there are tangible links that I'm aware of with some of the allegations they're making, but they're using this as a...
That I'm aware of is probably doing some heavy lifting there. Although... we got to be careful, we do choose to follow the law here. We accept what he says, but we have had other reports. The guys up in the peninsula in the North Island, those Rocket Lab guys. I thought that there'd been like you're saying, a kind of connection already spoken out. What there hadn't been a connection of is their relationship with these companies in America, helping those companies in America with their military contracts or not. That seems to be the thing we don't know about.
Platform to get their message out there, and fair play to them.
Over 20 protesters were arrested, but the protest itself has taken on a more peaceful tone now that the 700 national and international delegates are safely inside. They vowed to stay here all day.
It's on your hands!
In a standoff neither side would back down from. Lisa Davies, One News.
It does. We do seem to be having a situation in New Zealand at the moment where it does feel a little bit like the 1981 Springbok tour, where 30, 40 years later, people look back and go, yeah, there was a definite right side to be on that we didn't see at the time. It does feel with a couple of things in the last couple of days that in 10, 15, 20 years, we'll be looking back going, there was a definite correct side to be on. And if our space agency, our privately owned companies working in space technology, if they are aiding and abetting military companies that are then directly responsible for death and destruction, in 10, 15, 20 years from now, I'm sure everyone will go back going, yeah, there was a right place to be on that, and some people weren't in the right place. Like we said last night, you don't find anyone today going, oh yeah, I supported apartheid in the 1981 Springbok tour, because they know they were on the wrong side of history, so they pretend they weren't. I wonder if this will be one of those in the future, that they know that there was a wrong side of history position being taken and they don't want to be associated with it.
To that super chat that said, check my DMs, it's contact information from Peace Action Atutahi. They are available to talk to us tomorrow night. So... I will pass that on to you, Pat.
Oh, thank you. Cool.
So a couple of takeaways from that. Judith Collins.
Knob. Sorry, slipped out.
All you had to do was wander out and go, yes, I've seen people protesting. They are within their rights to do so. You didn't need to be all dramatic and go, oh, aren't they?
Are they embarrassing? Are they so embarrassing?
Just clowns.
Mean girl.
And I would say this to any politician. Like, just say that people have the right to protest and leave it at that. Like, just don't make a thing out of it. It's dumb. To the protesters themselves, good on you for having the moral fortitude to actually stand up and do something. And I think this is what shakes people, is like, if you don't know what's going on at this conference, or what technologies are being promoted, or how those technologies are working, or what links they have to regimes around the world, or their end users, that sort of thing, it's very easy to go, oh, I don't get it. It looks like a bunch of hippies having a go at the cops. Maybe just take a moment and do a little bit of reading. Just find out. Because I personally would be super concerned about any New Zealand company developing a technology that would be used by the Israelis to go after the Palestinians, or by an American company to use against their own citizens, or something that would negatively affect New Zealand. Like, one of the things that I'm quite concerned about is, for the longest time, most countries agreed that we shouldn't militarize space too much. And everybody is seeming to kind of slowly walk back from that now. And that, when you read about what would happen if people start blowing up everybody's satellites and that sort of thing, goodbye GPS, goodbye global telecommunications. It's very, very bad for a small island nation far away from everybody else. So, yes, I commend these protesters for standing up for what they believe in.
It does feel like you're saying, space at the moment is a bit like what Antarctica was, how the world came together and they kind of had an agreement that no one would do X, Y, and Z in Antarctica, and they've pretty much stuck by it. As you're saying, that's kind of what it felt like with space as well, but that is, yeah, feels like it's ending somewhat. All right. Just a little reminder, because I've just had a look and seen as well, that on if you're on YouTube, they've now got a store there as well. See that, Chewy? Store. Now, we only got the setup. We only got the setup this afternoon, so I'm not entirely sure how it's working, because apparently it has literally every single t-shirt, hoodie, and every single size. Like, there's the 3XL Pat and Chewy Rust. There is the large Pat and Chewy Rust.
Help us
so
out, people, by just randomly hitting buttons and buying stuff.
There is the medium. So I'm obviously there is some putting together, but look, we've got a lot of stuff on there and some stickers down the bottom. Yeah, so we're doing this as well, so more people can get to know. We were thinking about a couple of things, like the fuck around and find out, the tax wealth less, tax work less, tax wealth more, and the you can't bomb the truth away are probably going to be desirable by people maybe outside of our circle, which is why some of them we haven't branded with BHN. They're just good messages. And now that we're on YouTube and a store there, I think it'll be useful. Very cool.
I just want to highlight a comment, because someone called me out here, or noticed what I did.
Yeah.
Too much is a very odd way of saying at all.
What did you hit? Where did you say too much?
The militarization of space. Can't have too much militarization of space.
I felt the facetious nature of your tone, though. That was slightly tongue in cheek, but that's cool.
No, it's accurate. I was about to say in totality, but a lot of satellites up in space are spy satellites. If we don't have spy satellites up there, you can't spy on people and find out what mass graves are out there, or how much Gaza has changed, or let the Ukrainians target Russian targets, which I'm very much for. So yes, I guess where I come into is the offensive militarization of space. Bombs and missiles being dropped from orbit, or satellites that are made to blow up other satellites. Very, very bad. I hope you can see what I'm saying there. Maybe that's a little bit more clear of where my mind's at with that.
All right, some other chats that have come in. James says, Judith Collins, Space Cadet Minister. More like. Kiwi Bird says, can we send the Space Minister to another galaxy far, far away? Oh, we know someone.
That's probably the best way. She needs to go on a fact-finding mission. She's the Minister for Space. She needs to experience it. Let's put her on a Rocket Lab rocket.
Minister for Space. It just sounds moronic. It does sound like a Donald Trump made-up position to give to someone. Space Force, Minister for Space. It's ridiculous. Alex has another one here. Letting Pat and Chewy know. Thanks. On the Work and Income website, it states that people on the supported living payment, disability allowance, pension will be subjected to mandatory reviews next year. Yeah, I think what Craig said was both terrifying and so clear, is that they are trying to claw money back off the back of disabled people, off the back of elderly people, off the back of 18 and 19-year-olds. The only people they don't seem to be trying to claw money back from is the people they've given it to, like the landlords and the top 10% in tax cuts. They're like, go get the low-hanging fruit first of all, maybe. Go get it from there. I remember one night I did this thing on Talkback, and I asked this question of these, let's be honest, 60-year-olds plus, and I said, if you knew it would help your grandkids, right, and it would help fix the country for whatever reason, would you be prepared to take a drop in your pension? So that was the question. Like, would you give up something? Even though, it wasn't like, I wasn't suggesting they should or we needed to. It was an interesting question one night to kind of go, if you guys knew that would be the difference, would you? And most of them came back saying, most of them, to their credit, came back saying, I would, as long as it was led by the politicians. So as long as it wasn't us giving up something and all the other people kind of still getting or gaining. So they were basically saying if this was a team decision and the team participated, yeah. And I kind of feel the same, about where we're at now. You don't get your money back off the 18 and 19-year-olds or the sick and injured. You first of all get it back off the wealthy, and then you probably get it back off yourself, and then you come looking for us to see if we'll dip our hands in our pockets. That seems to be a fair way of doing it.
I have a fun fact for you, Pat.
Yay!
You know how superannuitants can get the winter energy top up? Do you know who claimed that? Just one of the people that claimed it.
Are you going to tell me, Winston?
Winston took it. It's optional, by the way. You have to apply for it. Winston, on his massive taxpayer-funded wage,
he wanted that $20 a week.
He applied for, he asked for, and received the winter energy payment.
Look, I don't like these conversations because I'm going to say something now, not to defend Winston, but there might be someone like an accountant that does everything for him that just goes, yes, entitled, tick, 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 and he may have nothing to do with it. But either way, it's a pretty bad look. It's a bad look. Like if that was my accountant, I'd be saying to my accountant, don't be ridiculous. I don't need that. You're going to put me in an awkward position if I take it. So no. But, yeah.
The other aspect of it is because you see this news story bubbling away is obviously the recommendations of putting up their retirement age, because there's no possible way that we can avoid this upcoming train wreck apart from
to 72
work longer. 72.
Or GST to 32%. That was the other option that Treasury came up with.
Oh, was there another option? Were there any other options of going, hey, look, there's a whole bunch of rich people that we've identified, and it's the same group of rich people that we identified 20, 30 years ago when we started talking about the fact that there is going to be a point where
it's not that it might not be the same people.
Difficult.
It's probably their kids. Because that's what happens with wealth.
Yeah, the generation.
20 or 30 years ago, it was granddad, and now it's the son. And next time, and in 20 or 30 years, it'll be the grandson who will be having those conversations, because that's what happens with wealth. It becomes generational. Just like poverty becomes generational.
This is all I wanted for my, I have a relatively easy retail job. I sit on a stool, I help people. I probably could physically work till I was 72. Chances of me wanting to eat a gun before then would be much, much higher. But I think about all of those people with harder physical jobs, people with shorter lifespans. You're just saying work till you die. And this is one of the things I think, if there's ever a single issue where I go, you know what, we need to protest more like the French do.
Yeah.
And start rolling over cars in the street.
Yeah. And
started plastering electorate offices and government buildings with manure until they realised that they shouldn't do that. That's got to be the issue. Like, making people work until they die cannot be the answer to this.
Yeah. No, you're right. And look, the problem is, the problem is with this conversation is the current system can't stay. Like the country will go bankrupt if we and this is why it does need to be addressed by a political party, and it's not a vote winner. So both sides try to ignore it, but raising of the age would have to happen if they don't do something else. What we're doing right now can't continue. And the two main options are growing your pool of money by a different taxation system and then continuing on, or raising the age. They're really the only two options. And obviously, I think that what Chewy's just spelled out, there is a pool of people, companies, businesses, conglomerates, family trusts that could be contributing more, and then it could stay as it is right now. But I think it's a truth to say it can't stay as it is right now in the way they're doing it right now.
Yeah. Something
has to change.
There's three things that they can't touch, in my opinion, because it's toxic waste for getting re-elected or elected, right? You can't change the age.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people really need to put that flag in the ground. No, you're not changing the age. And you can't means test super. Don't do it. People, like, that's probably not as important as the other one.
Mm.
And what was it? There was a third thing that I was like, oh, you can't touch it. It's gone now. But yeah,
where was the line?
It's like,
can't touch this. I mean, you know what? You could means test it. But as always, what happens with government agencies is they always set the threshold. You can see it with the $65,000 to $18,000. They always set the threshold. Both sides do this. Set it too low. If you means tested and it was quite a high number, like $300,000 income a year, something
government
ridiculous,
ministerial level,
it would need, you could have it, right? I don't have a huge problem with the idea of means testing as long as the threshold is quite high, because what normally happens is the people up the very top are okay because they've got more. The people at the very bottom get the support, and often there's this band in the middle. They haven't quite got enough to be able to get by, but are earning too much based on the numbers government puts out there to be able to get the subsidy or the whatever it is, the benefit that this is being offered. I'm always about setting it higher, so you don't have that middle band of people who are neither qualified for the help or have enough money to survive comfortably. So that's a bit of a general statement about all sorts of things, be that, working for families, be that sole parent income, all of those things. If they set it a bit higher and made it easier for people to live more comfortably than have that band of getting off a benefit's quite difficult, because, I mean, for want of a better word, if you're just thinking about income, you have to earn all of that and then some more to make it worthwhile getting off. I'm not saying so you should stay on it, but I'm saying there is a decision to be made. And if they made the threshold a bit higher, it might be easier for some people to get by and get off. I don't know, just thinking.
And I think, look, when it comes to means testing super, it's a massive like punishment for saving sort of thing, and you kind of want older people to have a pot of money to take them into their old age. I think automatically if you are drawing a wage or salary package at all, you shouldn't get super.
It is actually.
Do you want to keep working, or do you want to get your super?
It is actually about need though as well. I've often thought about when people go, why should I be punished for having too much money? And I go, but you've just said you've got too much money. You're okay. You know what I mean? It's like you're okay. It's not a punishment because you're already you're already sorted, Mr. Luxon. You don't have to. You can do without the $300 a week with your 7 investment properties and your portfolio of stocks and your retirement scheme from Air New Zealand. I'm not saying he's the person, but you know what I mean. So I understand what you're saying when you say it might be seen as unfair to people who are saving, but because they're saving, they don't need it. I'm talking about with plenty of gap, plenty of gap there as well. So anyway, we should do this last story because we've been talking about it a few days. JC wants to know who's booked tickets for Gary Stevenson next year. See you there. And Because I Care has said $2,600 per kid for Jobseeker per year is the cut. $2,600 per kid for Jobseeker is the cut. The other thing, Chewy, that we said the other night, did we do this last night with you or last week? I don't know. It's all a blur. Is the idea that, when they bring this 18, 19-year-old thing in, which we're going to do now, they better also lift the support that currently stop at 18 to 20 as well, whether it's working for families or whatever, because you can't therefore go, well, you're coming off working for families at 18 and now you have to cover all of it yourself. You at least keep that until 20 would make sense. All right, let's get to this. It's a bit of a strange story, this, because it kind of talks about being off Jobseeker, and the story is about disabled people, injured people, but it kind of doesn't really get to it until the second half of the story. So let's rip into it and see what can only be described as cartoonish levels of evil. Even when they talk about it, it's like, well, we just don't want them to get stuck on a benefit. You mean people who can't work because of a disability? Those people, you don't want them to get, quote unquote, stuck on a benefit, stuck in a cycle of beneficiaries, those people who can't work because of a disability. Those people. No, okay.
And as the government hailed falling interest rates as good news for the job market, it's also been defending its move to cut Jobseeker benefits for 18 and 19-year-olds with disabilities and those too sick to work as part of its welfare crackdown. Here's senior political reporter Benedict Collins.
This Auckland mechanical engineer's been hunting for work since being made redundant.
Sorry, this is a bit of a weird story because this guy's not disabled or injured. That's what I'm saying. It kind of feels like it's about Jobseeker.
And while Hanish has been to 10 interviews, he hasn't landed a job.
All I get is, we hired someone internally, or, you didn't quite fit the niche that we were looking for.
But he's not giving up.
I want to make New Zealand proud.
In the Bay of Plenty, horticultural company Seeker say the job market has changed over the last 2 years.
We do advertise a range of roles at different periods. And
basically what I mean, the story is kind of about Jobseeker. Like that first guy wasn't disabled or injured. He was just looking for work. So it's kind of like in two parts, and then they'll get to the disabled or the disability part, which is, it's weird how they've started it.
Generally are very well subscribed in terms of applicants.
But the government insists an economic recovery and more jobs are on the way.
Look, there are real opportunities for people out there. Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, unemployment's ticked up a bit.
Clearly, Luxon needs to get out of the Kota Lounge and onto the streets to realise that his policies are not creating jobs.
And this MP says the government's benefit crackdown goes too far.
The government should be exempting people with health conditions from this new horrible policy that they're putting in place.
The government's cutting Jobseeker benefits for many 18 and 19-year-olds next year, including those getting the Jobseeker health and disability. Those receiving this support may have conditions like mental health disorders, heart issues, or have been in a serious accident. Some are battling cancer.
We don't want to see them spend 18 years of their life stuck on welfare.
It's ironic that she mentions the word 18 years of life when you're also talking about people on cancer, who have cancer, who may not, some of them have that 18 years. So you want to get them out in the workforce for their last 2 years if it's a serious kind of situation. Like, this is cartoonish levels of evil. They are putting people off a benefit. That's what they want to do, who can't work. And their response is, well, we don't want them to get stuck in a cycle.
Want to see them spend.
Sorry, go through.
I was going to say, cartoonish levels of evil is all Louise Upston has. Yeah. That's when they wheel her out.
I mean, and she's about to explain why people don't want to get stuck in a cycle of poverty, right? And remember, in the second part of the story, what we're looking at is 18 and 19-year-olds who are disabled, who are sick, who can't work, who have been in an accident. These are the people that, as Craig said half an hour ago or so, 40 minutes ago, that the government is stealing the money from. So they want to kick them off the benefit. These people who, I'll say it again, can't work due to injury, disability, or mental health issues, so they can take $60 million out of their pockets combined. It is cartoonish levels of evil.
We don't want to see them spend 18 years of their life stuck on welfare.
They might have a broken back, or they might have depression at the moment, or something like that, right? That's stopping them from working, which is why they're on this particular job seeker, and you're going to be taking it away from them.
Look, what I accept is that we have higher expectations of our young people.
We have higher expectations of those people with broken backs. He's just used the example broken back, Right, so that's the example we're fucking talking about.
Accept is that we have higher expectations of our young people. We want to see them in further education or
These kids are sick and they've got injuries.
In most cases, they are conditions that mean they are able to work within a 2-year period.
So the broken back, tell me how that works, because that was the example that was given. The disability, the permanent disability.
The Coomera industry is crying out for the broken-backed and depressed workers of New Zealand, remember? Luxon went up and asked them.
Dargaville's looking for as many disabled people as they can, people in wheelchairs, people with mad depression, people who can't function, people with PTSD, people with broken backs should all be going to Dargaville so they can start digging out Coomera. That's what this government wants. It makes me think of that movie or that stage show Oliver, the kids in the workhouses. It really does make me feel like this government would work quite well in a remake of Oliver,
What I accept is that we have higher expectations of our young people. We want to see them in further education or
These kids are sick and they've got injuries.
In most cases,
Broken
they
back.
are conditions that mean they are able to work within a 2-year
Legs
period.
grow back.
There are nearly 2,700 sick and injured.
Those blind people, I'm sure they're going to be sweet within 2 years. That's not going to be a problem, is it?
2,700 sick and injured young people getting the support currently.
They face barriers to getting the diagnoses, to getting the doctor's certificates that say, yes, we consider this a permanent disability.
Regardless, the Minister expects their parents to step up financially when she cuts their benefits. Benedict Collins, One News.
Then the truth comes out.
$60 million is a lot of money to you or me, Pat. Like, that'd be a life-changing amount of money, right?
Yeah.
To the general public,
maybe
$60 million. Big amount of money. In the framework of a government's operating budget, is $60 million a lot of money?
No. Wouldn't touch the sides. Wouldn't even notice it. It's a rounding error for a government budget.
What I don't understand, and there are so many examples that I was reading a Reddit thread earlier today of people describing their interactions with wins, like someone that is in a wheelchair permanently, having to physically come into a WINS office with a doctor's note saying that their permanent disability hasn't miraculously fixed itself. Why is there not some big fucking either physical or digital version of a big red stamp that just goes on someone's file that says, we've verified that this is true, leave this person alone for the rest of their fucking life? Like, that's just part of our society. It's something that we've decided. There is no point in trying to penny pinch from this person because their fucking life is hard enough. Right? In every case when there's been a study done on, let's say, benefit fraud, how much money can the government get from chasing benefit cheats or people on the wrong benefit? Or people that didn't tell WINS that they've got a boyfriend now, or that they took an aborter. And all of it pales to fucking pennies compared to the rort of tax evasion and tax fraud from companies and wealthy people. The government will burn piles of money to be seen to be going after bludgers. But it seems to me that the bludgers are in boardrooms and with very expensive suits, and they never get targeted. How much? I bet they would spend less and get more by going after those. And we wouldn't be talking about $60 million. We'd be talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. So if that's the case, that's a feature of this government. Meanness.
I don't have it to hand, and I've just decided I'm going to go and find it maybe tomorrow. Luxon said earlier this week about the 18 and 19-year-olds. Well, they chose to have them. That was one of his rationale. So what Mr. Luxon is saying is they chose to have the blind child. They chose to have the disabled child. They chose to have the child with depression. They chose to have the child who was raped and has now got mental health issues that they can't function properly. Because if his rationale earlier in the week, and it was, I heard it, I don't have it, I will find it for tomorrow. If his rationale was they chose to have these kids, so therefore they're responsible, now add disability into that. Now add injured. They chose to have that kid who broke his back playing rugby. So, what are you going to do?
Well, more to the point, you're sitting there with your partner, you decide to take that next step in life and actually create a life because you want to build a family together. Now, don't forget, consult with a clairvoyant to find out what the economic circumstances are going to be like in 18 years' time. What the fuck?
Yeah. All right, Whānau. Let's go to, there's another from Mr. Alex. It begins with an 18 and 19-year-olds first, then it gets extended to adults and retired and disabled who cannot work. Well, it's already at the disabled. What Luxon is telling us is that slavery is back and he does not care who gets hurt. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yep. Agreed. Not much more we can say to that. And it reminds me of course, that famous poem, and there was no one left to fight for me. First it started with the 18-year-olds, and I did not speak because I was not 18 or 19. And then it went to the disabled, and I did not speak because I was not disabled. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. 100%. 100%. It's in the bell. It says Luxon gets his policies from Dr. Evil. And one more from Arvids. Please, sir, may I have some work? That's the song. Oliver, please, sir, may I have some more? It does actually feel like that. It feels like a kind of a child work camp. That's what these guys ultimately want. And it does come out sometimes when they talk about work and like as an outworking, and how it should be the be all and end all for every New Zealander to do a 40-hour week, no matter how low the pay is and no matter how poor the conditions are. That is the priority. And what it sounds like to me is you've got these capitalists at the top saying, but we need these guys who have got small enough fingers to get into the bullet to clean them out. Sorry, that was a Schindler's List line. But who we need these guys to do all the crap jobs that we're not prepared to sully ourselves with. So we need to put them on the progress or the path to factory work or the path to digging ditches. Now that's no shade on factory work or digging ditches. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it anymore. But it's when you've got this capitalist elite group at the top saying, this is the value we place in these people. This is what we need to use their blood, bones, and muscles for, and nothing else. And fuck, you should like it when you do it, because that's what we're going to make you do. That's how it kind of feels to me.
This is bigger picture stuff here as well. But like, these guys are operating on the, I guess, the belief that the work landscape is still like it was 40 years ago. Just go and get a good, well-paying, unionised factory job. The factories are closed or automated. They don't need so many people. The unions have been all busted in the 80s and 90s. So there's no good paying factory jobs left. Even tech companies and creative industries are now under pressure from AI, and all of our governments are still looking at like, oh, you're finding it tough to get a job? Just print out your CV and walk up and down the main street till you get a job, just like I did in 1985. It's not the same. The shit changes. And this is why we keep on talking about a UBI. Like, money in the economy is still being made globally, like whether it's automated or AI'd or whatever. Those companies are making money. They're just not paying it to people. They're not paying out in wages. So then they must be taxed, and then the money redistributed to the people that now don't have any jobs because it's been fucking automated to shit. Like, nobody's made that jump yet, because we have people in comment sections that are quite happy to bandy around going, yeah, Luxon's calling it as it is. No free rides, you wheelchair-bound bludger.
Yeah.
Fuck these people, these cold people that have never interacted or just been so blissful to go through life without hitting a pothole or a fucking fence or just a dead-end street. You know, Luxon's never interacted with these people. Like, he doesn't need to. He's not sitting down to fucking $2,500 dinners with beneficiaries, is he? He's not having those conversations with those people that are like, I don't want to be on a benefit. I don't want to have a disabled child. I want to live with some dignity. But we can't have that because people don't want to see anyone seemingly get a free ride. Horrible people.
They still teach that at work seminars at Wynn, says Big Ol' B.
Printing out a CV and go door to door. I know. I see these kids that are just doing what they're told because otherwise their benefit gets cut. You know, walk into a shop, they've already had 60 other shops say no. Oh, have you guys got any jobs? No. Oh, can I leave my CV? No, we advertise our jobs on Seek. Oh, okay. On to the next shop. Just soul-destroying shit.
It sounds like we've got a conversation going on tomorrow night, Chewy. Remind the punters who's coming to join us.
We are going to grab someone from Atutahi Peace Action. I have the details which I'll pass on to Pat after the show.
So you're giving me you're giving me a job tomorrow, are you?
I am giving you a job.
HR again. Hey, remember as well, team. We will have a meetup this weekend. Now, the meetup this weekend. Now, I know I've said this lots, and I haven't actioned anything yet because I'm just shithouse at everything basically. The levels of the layers of Patreon's going to change at some stage. But if you want to, but at the moment I haven't done anything. So it is what it is. If you want to be a part of what we do, if you want to support what we do, if you are a part of us and you want to come and hang out, obviously online this weekend, then you need to be a patron. And the way you become a patron is to head to patreon.com/Big Hairy News. And you join up there. There are privileges and stuff that come with it. On certain levels, you get free merch and that sort of thing as well. And let me just tell you something. And I'm not saying this to try and encourage people to sign up. We've said this very, very clearly for a long time. We only want people to sign up who can be with us through till the end of next year. I don't want you to put yourself out now, because what we'll be doing is we'll be looking at our Patreon. Like, the merch store is great. We do get about $4 a month ad revenue from YouTube. But what we plan our future on is what we know will come in, which is Patreon. So really it is the cornerstone of everything we do. I've said it before, and I'm not saying it now to try and be kind of goofy or eat ass, but it's the idea that, we stand on the shoulders of our patrons. If we can see further, it's because we're standing on the shoulders of our patrons. And for everyone who enjoys the content, who values the content, who likes the content, then you're standing on the shoulders of our patrons too. So they are really that important to us, and they are really that important to this overall thing. And the last few months is the first time since we've started that the Patreon has gone down. Now, that's fine. And if you're not able to make it through till the end of next year with what you're currently doing, I would actually encourage you to drop your layer to make it more comfortable for you, or to cut out. We don't want you to cut out, obviously, but that's how important it is for us to be able to plan further forward. And I'm not saying this to try and twist anyone's arm right now. It's fine that it's gone down a little bit, but it's probably a time to also remind us all that this is how we pay our bills, and this is really what we do. Sorry, Chewy, you're going to say something.
I was going to say the only reason the Patreon's come down is because Sean Plunkett cancelled his regular payment. Meet up this weekend. I will try and do it straight after the show, actually, just so I don't forget. If I do forget straight after the show, I am that way inclined. I am one of those people who will be doing something at a table using a pen and then won't be able to find the pen because I've done something with it. Like, that's how my brain works. So I might forget straight after the show. I'll try not to, but it'll be a Zoom meet up this Saturday, probably 11 a.m. And we'll love to see you. The other thing is about the Patreon is we will
Chewy and I, and maybe Magenta and Emily will get into it as well, be definitely doing some in real life, in-person meetups over the next 12 months as well. We did it in Auckland, worked really well. Chewy, you would not believe the percentage of merch that goes to Upper Hutt or Hutt Valley. It's unreal. So I think Wellington...
that we have an Upper Hutt posse.
Yeah, Upper Hutt posse for sure. It's like, honestly, it feels like every third thing we pack is going to somewhere in the Hutt Valley. So we'll definitely want to get up to Wellington and do a crack there, and then with Magenta, and then possibly get up to Christchurch and do one there with Emily, and then can we make our way to do one in Dunedin, you think, Chewy? I don't know who would do it with in Dunedin, but maybe we can figure that out. So what I'm saying is there's things on the way as well, and for 2026, that's next year, Patreon will also there'll be a few more advantages to it, because if I'm honest with you, I don't want to say I've treated you guys badly. It's not that. You guys join up because you want to support us. I get it. But we do need to do more for the patrons as well. So it'll be changing over the next 12 months. But
we're putting a new tier in. You subscribe to that tier and you get Pat's personal phone number.
Do you know what I was thinking? This is what I was thinking. I'm not saying this is going to, I don't know how to do it. I was thinking, Chewy, what we should maybe do for patrons is maybe we should do like a pre-show show. Like for 20 minutes. So like get on the pre-show show on Patreon only from sort of 20 to 9 o'clock and then do the show.
Oh, bro, don't get me in more trouble.
Oh, true that. Maybe I could do a pre-show show. Maybe we could have like two other hosts. Oh, that's not a bad idea, actually. Two other hosts do like from 8:30 till 9 as a pre-show on Patreon only. And then, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Look, we're just thinking. We're thinking about ways to actually say to you patrons, we love you, we thank you, we want you to be a part of what we're doing. We don't take you for take you for advantage? What's the word? Take you for granted. And yeah, I've been talking too long about it now. Patreon.com/Big Hairy News. And we might see you on Saturday. That's us, Chewy. I think that's us. I think that's us. Yeah, I'm just padding while I pull up the credits because they're over there. All right, guys, there's one more starred question, so we should get that. Oh, this is a very good point from the last conversation. Workers have choices, which is why they're leaving. Yes, they have choices to stay in this country under this government, which treats them and everyone lesser than them as something they're wiping off their shoe, or they can go to Australia and live with snakes. Terrifying. That's the people, by the way, not the animals.
Help us settle a debate, whether it be thoughtful or funny, even if we're all creatures of hate. It's a fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Let's take a note of the corners we stand in. As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have their hand out for rewards, while the many have to work at what they can't afford. And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions we're too worried to mention. Other media is still dwelling on trivial facts, vetting bees from the rice and the mice from the rats, and picking and choosing a warpath to run, linking ourselves with the hill to die on. It's gotta come down to a welcoming vibe, with an A and a self and a higher in mind. All heavily, neither this way or that, and we'll be analyzed by both Chewy and Pat. With the evil in the world trying to mess with your head, and you're sitting on the couch, you're thinking chivalry's dead. Each night, 2 nights, they're gonna sing you to bed. Big hairy
I don't have too much else to add, actually, Chewy. I'll just say love and kisses on all your pink bits. That's about all I got to say.
Wow, there's an HR write-up for sure.
All right. Sure. Anything you want to wrap with?
No, I don't have anything.
That's not like gendered in any way. That encompasses everybody, you know. I mean,
I'm pretty sure the fact that it's not gendered or not is not the bad part of kissing to all your pink bits.
Okay. All right. I don't know.
Good Lord, man.
That's how my mum used to say to me every night when I went to bed. That's not true.
Right.
It's not true.
Save
Sorry,
that
Mum.
for your therapist.
That's not true. That's not true. It's not true at all. All right, team. Catch you tomorrow. Hooroo.
All right.
I'm in trouble.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.